Welcome back to VOP this morning on VOP TV. Before that break, we told you about how the bandits demand 40 trillion naira ransom for the release of 16 kidnapped people in Kaduna State. Okay, the nation gazes in shock as bandits demand 40 trillion naira, 150 motorcycles, and 11 Hilux vans for the release of 16 residents abducted in Kaduna State. The 16 abducted residents are from the Goningora area of the Kaduna metropolis. The bandits invaded the Angua Outer community in Goningora on February 28, killed 2 people and abducted 3 others. Not satisfied with their mission, the bandits returned 4 days later and abducted 13 more people. With the level of insecurity, killings, kidnapping and destruction of properties, the people of Nigeria are calling on the president to act fast and act now. Okay, joining us to dissect this topic, though virtually, is Mr. Chris Paul Otaigbe, who is an international chief correspondent and project director at the Afrinity TV based in the UK. Good morning, Mr. Chris Paul Otaigbe. Good to have you join us today. Okay, Mr. Chris, I believe you've been listening to all we've been talking about this morning.
Before we go to Chris, let's also talk about our second guest. We have Jide Ojo, who is a development consultant, author, columnist with the Punch newspaper, and a public affairs analyst. He's joining this conversation as well. And big welcome to you, Chris Paul Otaigbe. Welcome to the conversation. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Chris, I would like to get your opinion on this. How come the bandits are now demanding a huge amount of money, which in Nigeria as a nation have not even thought about using this amount to be our budget for the year? 40 trillion naira, 150 motorcycles and Hilux vans, 11 of them. What do you make of this demand by the bandits?
I think, honestly, it's a joke. And I just said that lightly on a lighter note, but then if we're to take them seriously, then you know that is beyond what they're saying. First of all, let's look at the kind of demand they're making. They're asking for 40 trillion, not even 40 billion naira. 40 trillion. Okay, let's even look at it from the angle of the dollar. Let's just say at the rates now, I can't calculate that. Let's even say at 1,000 or say or so to a dollar. So we are looking at $40 billion. Can they count it? Do they know the quantum? Do they know the size, optically, physically? That kind of money. So how do they expect people to pack 40 trillion to the bush? Who will back it? Do they know how many trucks will pack that kind of money? So I think they are getting too excited and they are getting over the line. It's becoming a huge, huge joke. And that also would let you know the level of participation of both the state and criminals. Because before, they were asking for millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions of naira, which was obviously given them by those who pay them then in dollars. It was easier. But you're asking for 40 trillion. It's not possible. It's impossible. You know, and for me, I just believe that it shows the time we're in. There is recklessness right now in government, and the citizens are just, everybody just know that right now we are in the period of criminality. Let's go there. That's what we're having right now.
Hello? I'm still going to stay with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mr. Paul,
I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. Now, you made mention a couple of minutes ago that goes to show the participation of the state with these criminals, because that's what we'll call them. Let's just put it out in black. Now, What do you think would be the implication of this kind of audacious demand? Because let's face it, this is more like telling Nigerians and even the government that these guys are becoming really big. 40 trillion naira is almost double the budget of this country in 2 years.
Yeah, don't forget, for them to have that audacity,
Yes.
they are also talking from experience and precedence that we know or that we may not know or that we may suspect. The one I suspect, if you remember the Kaduna Abuja train drama, where the hijackers or the criminals or whatever they call themselves, kidnappers, whatever. Look, these guys are just they are from a single source. They come by all sorts of names, kidnappers, headsmen, bandits. They are all the same. They are all from the same source. You recall that those Kaduna guys, the hijackers or kidnappers, they demanded for something that they know, they were telling the government, they know that the government can provide. And they were serious. And before you know it, we didn't hear about them again. We were hearing, maybe government has acceded to their demand. And that's what happened. You remember they were making impossible demand at the time. That only governments that they had, remember they kept saying that they had an agreement with government, or they know there is something they had with government and they wanted it. And they got it. For crying out loud, they got it, because if they didn't get it, we would know.
Okay, so
They made an impossible demand and they got it. So these guys have been emboldened by that, I'm very sure.
all right. Talking about the demands that the terrorists are making, in 2022, they demanded 100 million naira for them to release 36 members of a church. I'm talking about the Methodist and the Catholic Church, people that were kidnapped, which later, I believe, those people were released. But now, sir, the government told us that paying of ransom should be included in in the Constitution as a bad thing. Now, for you to pay for ransom for someone to be released, that shows you're now defaulting Nigeria, all that, because it's going to be a crime, kind of. But we also have the likes of Shagumi being an intermediary, I call him that, between the federal government and the bandits. And then most of the time, we found out that also we have people being kidnapped, and then later, the security operatives will tell us that they were released, but later we'll have another one that will say, no, they were not released, they were paid ransom and all that. Now, where do this actually leave us as a country, and also the laws that were being, that are being made in Nigeria? Do you think the law actually is making headway?
Look, I like to talk in general terms, okay? Because everything devolves from that bigger picture. The first thing we must know, and I've been saying this since Buhari, we never really had a government. Now we don't even have a government. We have a bunch of criminals in power. I mean, literally, and we all know what we're talking about. Who are in power? Criminals are in power. Let's not kid ourselves. On the day God says we'll become a sane nation, you will all know that all this bunch of people in power are criminals. Criminals don't mean good or well for anybody. So that's why they will be saying abominable things that don't make sense. You are impoverishing the people to the point that it's obvious that it has become a criminal policy of the government, so-called, that poverty-inducing policies are deliberate weapons of the state against the people. And the people are responding by, resorting to all sorts of survival tactics, becoming kidnappers, bandits, ritualists. Even you don't have petty thieves anymore. You have people going big on criminality. And look, any government, and I'm saying this, Abacha said it before of blessed memory, that and if terrorism persists within more than 48 hours, government is involved. Government is involved. And I'll break this down for you. There have been testimonies of people, of victims of kidnap, survivors, who come out and tell you that the ransom they pay, and they are reliably told that they settle people in the military, people in the police. People have come out to say that. So all of this analysis we are saying is the same thing. Criminals are in power. They are aiding their criminals outside to extort people, to extort the government. This is not conjecture. It is not speculation. It is out there in the public. Look, the day we have a government, insecurity will cease.
All right then.
Insecurity will cease.
Okay. Well, according to you, the day we have a government, or the day government decides to, take its rightful place, make laws and implement them, insecurity will cease. But as it is now, let me take you back a bit to 2023, where the Dauda Lawal of the governor of Zamfara State accused the federal government agencies, I beg your pardon, of negotiating with terrorists. That was just a year ago. Now, let's look at the modus operandi of these. I actually don't even know what to call them. Bandits, terrorists, Boko Haram, gunmen. I don't know. As you rightly said, and as a whole lot of Nigerians have said, they are one and the same. Now, the modus operandi. Now, we're talking about 16 people. When this happened, the first time it was 3 people. They came, killed a few, took away 3. The people, rose up, blocked the Kaduna-Abuja highway in protest that they need to be authorized. They need military presence in their state, that enough was enough. They talked about being empowered, giving guns to defend themselves. I mean, I still remember watching one of that on television, we also carried that here, where residents were saying, look, arm us, give us arms, we will defend ourselves. If you are unable to defend us, we will defend ourselves. Some days later, now, when that happened, the military went there, quelled the situation, told them to calm down, dispersed the agitating crowd. Days later, bandits went back there and took, 13 more people, bringing the number to 16. And now they are placing a demand of 40 trillion naira, 150 brand new motorcycles, and 11 Hilux vans, which is laughable if you think about it, because for me it feels like, let's bargain. If you can't give us 40 trillion, by the time we talk and talk and talk, we'll come down to about the budget of Nigeria, which will maybe be 20 trillion, and whoever is going to share will share. But in as much as there are insinuations that government agencies might be involved in all of it, or certain individuals in power might be involved in all of this, what's your take on arming the people? What's your take on the people being able to defend themselves? Because it's gradually coming to that. A senator, what's his name now? Senator Ned Nwoko, talked about making it constitutional for Nigerians to bear arms. If you meet the criteria, then you can bear arms. Should we get to that point as a way of defending ourselves? What's your take on this one?
Number one, we are at that point. We are at that point where the people must take up arms by themselves to defend themselves. That's where we are. Let's not kid ourselves.
But it's still unconstitutional to do so.
Here, the only mistake I'm seeing here is that the people are waiting on criminals who are in power to make government work for them. It won't happen. But I'm telling you now, I'm using this opportunity to send this word out. The people have not started to react to. Because the day the people will react, it will not be because of kidnapping. It will be because of government. Because it is obvious. Look at the drama we just narrated now. They came to this village, abducted 3. That sparked an outcry. The villagers started protesting. And government took notice. Then 4 days later, those guys emboldened came back to that same village. That same village. And took 13 more. What does that tell you? And then they're now demanding for God knows what they're saying. What does that tell you? It shows that those people must be working with some people in power. That's just it. Let's face it. Somebody must have told them, okay, let the noise die down small. Then you can go back there 40 days. 4 days later. And go and make this demand. Because they know that, I can tell you, as they made that demand, their accomplices and collaborators in government are behind, saying, well, maybe we should pay them now, and lives are precious. Okay, we can't pay, like you said, we can't pay the 40 trillion. Maybe let's even just give them 1 trillion. You know what 1 trillion is? You know how many people can benefit from 1 trillion naira or $1 billion? It's beyond those use the word on air. It's beyond those criminals who are actually making that demands now. Do those ones know what $1 million look like? Do they know what 1 billion naira looks like?
So
give
as it stands,
give those people.
As it stands now, what is the way forward? Now let's assume, or let's stay with the fact that we have an elected government in power. Let's stay with that fact. You might call them, whatever name you choose to call them, but
that's what they are.
We have a government in power.
Yeah.
What can Nigerians do to maybe force the hand of government now to do the needful in protecting lives and property?
I am telling you, I have weighed this matter up and down. And I'm not saying this because I hate those people in power. I may not like their ways as criminals. But I'm telling you that they can't do anything. They can't help you. They can't help themselves. Even if they want to do good for the people, they can't. Because they are hostage to criminals who aided their being in power. I'll give you one. Let's look at it from the international perspective first. The guy who is president right now, you remember all the drama we had with FBI in America? Just open the books for us. Let's prove that he is not who he is or is who we think he is. So that we can sort our lives out democratically. What did America do? They shut it down.
Why would
now,
you
the first
do
thing
that? Why?
Hold on. The first thing they did after they put that guy in power, he opened his mouth and the subsidy is gone forever. And then the next thing we are hearing, they are bringing in LGBTQ policy into our lives. That's what America has always wanted and their Western allies. Would they have done that under Buhari? I dislike Buhari let me just say that. Buhari is the worst person any community country can put as their leader. We found that out. So I'm telling you, could America could they have had that audacity? They tried it, Buhari shut it down. But this guy has to take in any condition they gave him. If he must be in power,
so
I must not be disgraced.
Are you saying now that the president or the presidency in Nigeria is being twisted by foreign powers to accept whatever they throw at the country because of certain gains that Nigeria stands to gain, or things that the president
Nigeria doesn't gain anything. It is him that is gaining. He's gaining their favor for staying him in power illegitimately. That's another issue entirely. But the truth of the we're talking about, how does it affect our life? We are beginning to see that. He can't do anything. Don't forget, excuse me, it's all there in public space, how the West aids insecurity across West Africa so that they can distract us for them to continue to pillage to exploit our minerals illegally and illegitimately. But you can see where God is cleaning up some countries. Look at DJ, look at Burkina Faso now. Everybody is now saying we're to hell with the West. We're going to take up our own arms against the people. And terrorism will soon die in Burkina Faso. It will soon die in Niger. It will soon die in those countries. They will soon regain their sanity. But in Nigeria, they won't allow it to work. So the people, you are asking if the government can do anything. I'm twisting. They are not. I'm twisting this government. This government is in the zone of criminality.
All right,
they have to be obeyed. They have to obey.
Those are really
I'm
harsh
sorry.
allegations there.
They are harsh. They are harsh, but they are reality. No, you look at it. What criminal in the universe on this planet, excuse me, will be so bold to open their mouth and say, go and get me 40 trillion, $40 billion, or $30 billion. Even the greatest armed robber on the planet, even the greatest kidnappers on the planet will not have that audacity because they know what it is. You want to take money that when you are running, nobody can catch you. Now, so how do you run?
Now,
with 40 trillion?
In line with this, we've had the issue of seeing NIN and SIM linkage as a way of curbing payments of ransom to terrorists and bandits. What's your take on the effectiveness of that? And this kind of money, how would it be moved around? Can this kind of money even be moved around in physical cash?
Let me tell you this. Sorry. Can I just say this?
Go ahead, please.
Why are you wasting your time? These people in power, they are just throwing things. The idea of NIN, linking your number to NIN, fantastic idea. All right? So that if they pay you, put money into your account, they can be traced. Okay? What are you talking about? What is communication? Are they not communicating with people? Are you telling me that the SSS cannot trace communication? Are they not communicating with people? Is it they will just stand in the bush and they give me 40 trillion so that the people won't catch it? They have GSM. These are the why? You know that's part of what I'm saying. This government and their previous guys have so whipped our humanity that we don't even know what is real anymore. We are now debating what is shadow. Yeah, we are debating 40 trillion when we should be laughing at it.
Mr. Chris, okay, now I want to ask you this now. The thing is, we've had so many people talking about how terrorism is being sponsored, you know, in Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria now, even in West Africa. And here in Nigeria, you know, last administration, there was a list of names provided to the government, you know, talking about the people who are indirectly sponsoring the criminal operations happening. But, you know, it's more like no one actually looked to that or into that list to be able to investigate or pull out the necessary information we need to get from that. And during last administration, there was a call for external intervention into the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, where they were like, we need to call for some people to help us, you know, curtail this menace insecurity is causing our nation. What is your take on this? Do you think insecurity, we can handle it on our own? Do you think we need to get external aids for the insecurity to be curbed in Nigeria?
Can I tell you something? We
Go
can
ahead, please.
handle anything. We Nigerians, as a people, we can handle anything by ourselves. Our enemy is our people in power who are using government to sabotage even our own self-effort. Look at what happened during Sunday Igboho. Whatever they are, Fulani people are good people, just like all ethnicities. All tribes are great people, have great people among them, so they are bad people. But these people are not even representing the Fulani, they are just using the Fulani and the Islamic religion to cover their faiths. Look at what Sunday Igboho did. What happened to him? Was it not government that sabotaged him? Was it not government that sabotaged Sunday Igboho? Were the kidnappers and bandits, were they not afraid of the Southwest because of one man, Sunday Igboho? Where is it today? Why are we forgetting things? Sunday Igboho is a classic case. That was self-help by the people for to help themselves. But government messed them up. Government messed them up. You remember how soldiers were chasing that boy? They will leave criminals. They were chasing somebody who was fighting for the people. Where government should be supporting him. If we don't get it with Sunday, but we can never get it. After Sunday, we should know that government is the criminal supporting fellow criminals who are not in power. That is narrative.
Now, as you round up this particular conversation before we get to the next one, there is a very interesting study by the UN that mentioned the 24 terror cells in 30 forests in the northwest of Nigeria. That is a major one for us to really look out for. Now, you have mentioned how much the government in power is not really willing. There is no willpower to wanting to do it right. In very direct words, what would you advise Nigerians at this point to do as regarding security?
You want my honest and candid opinion?
Well, maybe that would help us.
I like that. Maybe that will help you. Nigerians, right now, we are deceiving ourselves. I say this. I'm not throwing the words out recklessly. It's just the plain truth is the reality. We never really had government in our lives. Okay? We never felt government. They would just talk budget, we just hear it. Nothing happens. But the only thing government does is to make sure that they make our lives miserable. So when it comes to security, they mess us up even more. So where would we go from here, you want to know? The people have to get up themselves, and each people should guard their community.
All right then.
It has to be a collective work. Just like we do in estates. When robbers are troubling us, we all come together. We have to come together at the level of community, at the level of clans.
All right.
Do what we can to save ourselves. That's what we self-help. That's where we are. Sorry.
All right then.
That's the truth.
All right then. We thank you for your thoughts there, but we'd like for you to stay with us as we go into another topic. We're out of time for this very, very topic. Now we're looking at, we'll take a break, but when we come back, we'll be looking at Senator Godswill Akpabio urging the investigating committee to go after those involved in the 3 trillion naira ways and means payment. We're talking in trillions this morning. Well, this is a conversation we'll be having when we come back. I would like for you to get yourself a glass of water so we can, because we're going to stretch you for a little bit longer. We'll be back in a bit. Stay with us.